All right, so did I put it here? Yeah, I got put it in here. All right, so the first thing I want to just look at is just examples of kids thinking about reading, but doing it in visually ways. So these ways are actually written through hand. So we're not going to do it by hand, obviously. So this is someone's visualization of what they were thinking about when they're reading this story. Is it The Goodness of Matt Kaiser? So they have a picture. I guess I'm assuming this is supposed to be Matt Kaiser. And then all around it, they listed a bunch of ideas, which are basically pressures. So again, if you're looking at a story, you're thinking about conflict, right? Or what are some of the problems that a character might have? So this person just created this pressure map, is what they call it, and they listed out what are some of the pressures that the character is facing. So this one says to be a minister's son, to keep his conversations private, to be the baddest of the bad, to be an angel, to never refuse a dare. And then underneath it, they put like where in the book that they noticed these different types of pressure for that character, right? And then at the end, they summarized it. So instead of just writing it out as sentences and paragraphs, they visualized it, right? So they created the image of the character in the middle, and then all these pressures that are the characters facing. They have some examples of where they found it, and they summarize it. Okay, so that's one example. Let me go back. All right, so again, another way that you can kind of visualize ideas about a story. This person just used like a web, right? So they have webs, and then they have all the interconnectedness of the webs. So what I'm noticing, this kid has the characters in the middle, right? So they have Jane, Yetta, Bella, and then they have how they connect in the middle, and then they have like all these different offshoots of ideas from those characters. This one seems a little bit disorganized, but I guess the thinking of this kid is just like, what are all these things that connect the characters? How do they connect? And then they have some ideas shooting off of it. All right. Another way of doing it is almost like a table, right? So this person created almost like a table with separate characters and then just details about each character underneath it. This is their visualization of what the character looks like, so they drew it in their mind what the character looks like. They also have some descriptions here, and then some similarities, right? So that's another way of doing it. This one is almost similar to the web on top, except it has a little bit more visualization. So this person's using lines instead of webs. But basically, this is almost similar to a web. This is they're just using lines instead of it. Now, what I want you guys to do is something similar to that. So I'm going to show you guys how to use Google Draw. Let me have a question for you guys, though. How many of you guys have actually used Google Draw? Have you guys ever used Google Draw before? Anybody? Ever even seen it? Torres, no. Anybody at all ever used Google Draw? Nadia?
I've used it before, but like I don't know how to like use it too much.
Yeah, I'm not super adept at it, but I'm just gonna go over like the basics, just so that you guys can do it, and then you guys are gonna have an assignment that'll kind of tie into it. So, all right. So the first step to doing it is, all right. So if we're in, actually, it's probably easiest to go to Google Drive. So if I go to Google Drive, this is what I'm gonna do, just so it's like simple. All right, so I'm just going into Google Drive. All right, so if you're in Google Drive, you just go to New, and then you go down here, and then you're going to go to Google Drawings. All right, now I'm going to show you guys a couple of different things that you can use to do the drawing. All right, so now there's a toolbar over here, which is basically where a lot of the things that you're going to use are. So there's shapes, which is probably the one that you're going to use the most. And then over here you have a text box, which allows you to draw inside the shape. And then you have this thing here, which allows you to get images. Those are probably the three that you're going to use the most when you're using Google Draw. And then you have lines, and then this is like the pointer tool. You can also go to here, which will allow you to hit insert and like put similar things in there. All right, so all right, now the first thing I want to show you guys how to do is basically just use the shape. So again, you can either use insert here, which allows you to go to shape, or you can go to this, which allows you to go to shapes. All right, so let's go to the insert shape, and then this will pop up. You notice that there's like different pop-ups. So you can use all these different tools. Again, it's probably just easiest to use like squares or circles, right, or triangles. So we'll go here, click on square, and then it just allows you to click and drag and pull, and then it creates the square. Right, so let me just show you again. I'm just deleting it again. So you can either use this or this. So let me just show you from here. Click there, shape, and then you just click and drag. So I'm holding the key to do it. Right, so now I have a square, rectangle rather. So now, a lot of the time when you guys are using this, you're not drawing anything really. You're going to be using it to write on. So what you want to do is click on it, and then you want to go to the fill color and make it transparent. So that way you can use it to write on it. Okay. Now, so another thing you can do is if I click on here and then I click on border weight, this allows me to make the lines thicker if I want to make thicker lines. So notice how it got thicker. Okay, so those are some tools that you're going to be using. Now, again, I can use this shape. I can drag it around, move it however I want to manipulate it. I can resize it by clicking on the edges. These are some things that you should know. I don't know if you guys know this stuff. I'm sure from just years of doing stuff with pictures, you should be able to do that. So again, I can click the size of it, move it around. If I want to write on here, question.
Mister,
Yo.
how do we make it thick, like around it?
How do you do what? Question? I didn't hear that.
How did you do like the outline around it, like you did it?
So how do I make the line thicker? So if I click on the actual, again, a lot of these things are going to make sure you click on the actual shape itself. So I click on the shape, and then right next to the border color is the border weight, and then it changes the line size. So you have to just pick whatever. So obviously the smaller will make it thinner, the other outside will make it thicker. Another thing you can do with it, I don't know if you guys have ever recognized the little circle on the top. This little circle on the top allows you to rotate it. I don't suggest playing around with that because then sometimes it's a pain in the butt to twist it around. But if I pull and drag it, just see how it moves it around. I can do that as well. Okay? All right, so now I have my shape. I can click on the shape. Now, again, you're going to use these shapes to write ideas on it sometimes. So you're going to click on the text box, which is right here. And then you can just, wherever you want to write, again, you have to like click and drag first so that you can create a box, and then you can write in it, right? So now I have things written inside of here, okay? Now, a lot of the pictures and things that we're looking at had lines that connected ideas and stuff. So how do I do that? Again, here you have lines. Now there's different options. There's like straight lines, and there's also like connector lines, and there's also arrows. Yeah, you like the ASMR? Nice. All right, so the line, these are for straight lines. This is for like free lines, which is probably a lot harder. I don't suggest using that. You're better off just using one of these things, either the curved connector or the elbow connectors or the straight lines. Right, so I can take this, and then it allows me to draw with an arrow. See that? Okay. So if I'm connecting an idea, seeing how one thing connects to another, I can do that. Okay. And again, I can hit delete to delete something. Now, so again, we're trying to connect ideas together. Another thing that's just super useful in terms of thinking about what I'm reading or whatever is using pictures, right? So let's say I was writing about the story that we read, about the girl and her magician and the monkey, right? So maybe I want to talk about Rosora and her leading up to the monkey. So I have my Rosora here. I have my arrow going here. and then I'm going to have an idea related to like the monkey or something. So how do I do that? Again, you can go over here where it says insert image, like this little thing, the image. And again, you also can do an insert, right? So there's stuff here that you can look at, and then there's also stuff on the side. You got to be careful. Sometimes you accidentally like double up on stuff. So whenever you're changing from one thing to the next, always make sure to go back to the arrow, because the arrow is just for like pointing or and selecting stuff. So if you're like drawing stuff and then you like click somewhere else, it might do the last thing that you did. So you're always going to want to make sure that you go back to the arrow. So let's go to an image. We're going to add an image. You can upload your own image, or you can just go through the internet, which is always easy. So click search the web. And then here, let's say, again, I want to talk about the monkey. So let's find whatever picture of monkey that I want to put, right? So let's go with this guy. And then I insert it. Again, when you're putting in an image, you always want to make sure that you have it to the size that you want. So you can resize it to whatever. So say you want it bigger or smaller, click on the edge, just drag it, right? And then I have my picture here, right? So again, you're going to put all of these boxes, how they link together, your idea, how does it go to here. Underneath it, I might write some ideas here, like maybe I want to compare Resora to the monkey and how they're similar and how they're different. Again, there's all kinds of different things that you can do. All right, now, one super useful tool that you guys always have to do is compare and contrast things. So I'm going to delete all this stuff. Okay, I'm just clicking and deleting it. Now, super useful tool is the compare and contrast tool. So how do I make a nice, easy Venn diagram? I'm sure you guys know what the Venn diagrams are. Again, it's just simply two giant circles, right? So I click on the circle. I make the circle by clicking and dragging, right? So now I have my circle. Okay, so I'm going to use it as a Venn diagram. So I need to make sure that I make it transparent. So I click on it. Again, it's blue here. So I go to transparent. And then I can duplicate it. Now I have two. And then I just simply slide it over. And again, just like before, where I wanted to be able to write on it, I just go into a text box. And I can click on the text box and then just put it wherever I want. So maybe I'll put like Resora. Okay, I'm going to create another text box. And I put monkey. Right. And then I can put how these are similar and how they're different. Okay, and then obviously the things in the middle will be how they're different. Another tool that the Google Draw has, and I'm just deleting this stuff, is timelines. So super useful for like science class and social studies probably, because you're always dealing with time. But you can also do it for stuff related to a story. So here, let's see. It should be under diagram. It's been a while since I've used this. Yeah, so if I go into insert diagram, if I click on here, it puts in timelines, and there's different types of timelines that you can use. And you just basically choose the one that you think that you like, that's easy for you to use. It's probably like this one's kind of easy to use, or this one, or any one of these, I guess. And then you pop it up, and then all these things pop up. And it just puts like, it looks like, I guess that's Latin. So obviously you would just click on these things, and then you would be able to change these ideas by just writing it. Up here, again, I haven't really messed around with the timeline on Google Draw too much. You can change how many dates you want it up, I guess, from the top, and then the color of things. So that's just options that you have. All right, what's a couple of things that I want you guys to do, just show you. All right, so what I want you guys doing after you're done working on the stuff that you guys have to finish, I want you just to play around with Google Draw a little bit, because you're going to have to use it. So I guess I'll just have you guys choose one or two of these to work on after you're done doing the other stuff they need to do. So one thing is I want you guys to create a web. So a web is basically like shapes connected to each other. Put yourself in the middle, and then include shapes that describe yourself in some way. Second one is to create a timeline, and then in the timeline you can either describe things that happened to you yesterday, this week, this year. I don't care, whatever you decide. Third one, create a comparison of two people, and then list information that's relevant to them. So that's basically almost like a table. So you can just use insert table, and that's easy if you want. Create a pressure map. That's kind of like a web, right? So you have the character in the middle, and then you would just do like webbing off of it to show the different problems. So this one would be just some pressures that you faced in your own life. And then the last one is just create a Venn diagram, and you can compare anything. I don't care what you guys decide to compare. So the whole purpose is just make sure that you're playing around with Google Draw and that you kind of familiarize yourself with it so you can actually do it. And instead of doing writing, just using visuals. And again, for all of these, you should and can use images off the internet to kind of like put ideas down. So say like I don't know, maybe some pressures you had. Maybe you got into a fight with your sister or something, so you can put like a picture of your sister instead of writing like fought with my sister. You have a picture of your sister or something. So again, just play around with it. But the key is just getting used to it. Okay. Now, what you guys need to do before you get to that is making sure that where am I? Hold up, I gotta find the class. Make sure that you finish this. This has to get done. I only have 3 people turned it in, so make sure this gets done. So this is supposed to be finished. The flashcards are supposed to be finished. Yeah, and this plot diagram is supposed to get done. But don't worry about the plot diagram as much. I don't care about that as much as I care about making sure that this gets done. So finish this. If you finish that, flashcards. If you finish the flashcards, play around with Google. The Google first. I'm gonna actually I forgot to assign it, so let me assign this for you guys so you know. Where are you? All right. Does anybody have any questions about what they need to be working on or confusions?